Wonderful.
Okay. I'm not trying to put anyone on the spot. All right, let's see here. I think we're good. Let's see. All right. Let me check.
I'm on your page right now, waiting for it to pop up so I can share it on my business page.
Let me see. Yeah, it's there. You want me to send it to you in Messenger?
Yes, please.
Okay, hang on. Shannon. Shannon Fischer. Boom. Yep. Boom. Okay, you're good. Okay. I'll go ahead and open up Facebook so I can see those comments and YouTube in a bit. All right, so let's get going. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm just trying to see how the heck do I share that on my page from here?
It's you know what? I'll tag you. How about
Oh,
that? How
that
about
one.
if I tag you? Oh, I don't even know how that happened. Hang on.
I don't know why the video's not popping up on
It will.
here.
Try getting out of it and coming back on.
Hmm, good
All
idea.
right, let's see here. So we have episode 012, which is a great number. Shannon.
Here we go.
Shannon.
I'm gonna
And
share. Oh, I have to go home.
Shannon Fischer. Okay. I tagged you.
Thank you. I got it. Yeah,
So it'll show up on your page.
yeah,
Okay.
I got it on my page.
All
I will.
right. We got a few people in the house. So before we started, Shannon,
Mm-hmm.
before we went live, you were talking about what you said was my platform, which is cool. I get it. And I was telling you that this is the 12th show of a new platform or a new initiative. Um, and I think that's important because something's been asking us to totally deconstruct and leave everything behind, every single thing. And some of the big things we have and some of the little things we haven't, and vice versa. So I'm attempting with my brothers and sisters in the flow to enter a space where we don't know what's going to happen, or we don't have agenda, we don't have expectations. We show up and we're nervous, and I'm nervous too. And we just see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for coming in to this space. I consider it sacred because this is life and this is all we have.
Absolutely.
And we are on one hell of a mission or experiment or experience or fuckery or, heaven or whatever. But we're here. We're here, and that means something. So
Yeah.
thank you for coming. And I know you mentioned in the message you had been on before. I don't remember. But to me, it's all new.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to know as deep as you want to go. And you can ask questions as well. Um, what the hell's going on? What is it
Oh,
like for you? I know spiritually we spent all this time the last 12 years or so talking about that and how much we see the light and everything. And not that we don't, but
mhm.
how are you mentally, emotionally,
Oh, a lot better.
physically?
A
You know
lot
what I
better
mean?
than I was when I first woke up, so to speak. Um, so a little bit of a backstory here, I guess, to start. In the beginning, I had my spiritual awakening in 2011.
Mm.
And it came on, I didn't know what it was until about 3 or 4 years later, after I did 3 trips to the psych ward, because I didn't have any spiritual teachers. I wasn't religious and I didn't know what the heck was happening to me. But after I started meditating And I cleaned up my life. I stopped smoking pot. I was never a drinker or anything like that, but pot was a catalyst to the energy spike that ended up happening. And of course, another part of the catalyst was being in the pressure cooker of life, because how else do the diamonds get made, right? Without that pressure.
Mm.
We're a lot like that, as far as I can tell, and with my own experience. But through meditation is where I could understand the messages that were coming in, and hear more clearly that higher guidance, if you will. And when I felt the energy rise for a fourth time, I'm not going back to the hospital. I need to know what's happening to me, because I keep making these full recoveries that the doctors had no idea. Like, they're just, I don't know. They said, the one doctor I had, he says, I don't know how you have come out of where you went. Most people don't come back from there. And I said, because you don't know what's happening. But I'll find out, and one day I'm going to come back, and there'll be an entourage of people coming out speaking about what's actually happening. And then, so when the fourth time the energy rose, I went into my meditation practice and I got centered, and I asked very clearly what's happening. And they gave me the word Kundalini. I never heard of it before, didn't understand it. So I said, what's that? They said, Google it. Okay, thanks. I'm tuned into you, but you want me to Google it. The reason I had to Google it was for the sequence of events that happened right after. So I go in, I grab my iPad, and I do a Google search, like what Kundalini is, and the Wikipedia information talks about, the Eastern cultures are very well aware of Kundalini energy. It's the coiled energies at the base of all of our spines. Every human has this energy. It is comprised of the divine masculine and feminine energies, and it's kind of like snakes. Energetically, when it does its rise, and we can work with this energy, but it does have a life of its own, right? It's very, very powerful for those that don't know about it. And what happened to me was, when I was reading about it, there was two columns. There was what to expect when you work with this energy in a prepared way. And then there was the next column that says an unprepared and unexpected awakening of this Kundalini energy. And there's 35 bullet points of what to experience. And I could check off every single one of them, including acute psychosis, which is what landed me in the hospital. Now, the reason for this, as far as I know, is because I didn't know anything about us being energy. I just went along the first 35 years of my life believing this was a physical world. And that was pretty much all there was, even though deep down I felt like there has to be more than just this, right? Sure enough, oh my God, is there ever?
Yeah.
And we're not even scratching the surface of it.
Yeah.
So, but right after that, when and then it says at the bottom that there's this, this is actually called a spiritual crisis or spiritual emergency. And as soon as I read that, I'm going to get emotional. I felt the resonance and the truth. I finally, after 4 years of going through, I'm telling you, serious hell of in the hospital and back out on these medications as a single mom trying to raise a small boy at the time. He's grown now and he's a great man. But it was hard, really hard to have to go through that. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, so right after I read that, I was like, okay, I have the answer of what was happening. Now what do I do with this? As soon as I asked that internally, I got a bing on my messenger. Another friend, a psychic friend who lived in the UK, she messaged me right away and gave me a link to an article that was written by a shaman in Africa, Malatoma Some, Dr. Malatoma Some. He's passed on now, but at the time he was alive. And she just said, I came across this article and Spirit said to send it to you right now. And I started reading it. And of course, he said that he made a trip. He was talking about making a trip to the Western world. and visiting all of the hospitals, particularly their psych wards, to see how the natural born healers and shamans were being treated. And I'm like, what? Like, I said, what do I do with this? And this is the message that came in. It just absolutely floored me. I didn't want to believe it for the longest time, but then there's been many, many experiences that have been divinely guided and led by spirit that have brought me to where I am here today. And I am a practicing, I want to say westernized shaman, if you will, but there have been connections to the Native American culture. I'm very deeply rooted in the soul level that were introduced to me in 2018. I was introduced to hand drumming, and the very first day that I did that, it's like all the energy came alive, and I felt home in my heart for the first time in my life, and that was in 2018. So 7 years after my awakening,
Yeah.
and that's been
So,
a challenging journey as well.
so what's incredible, and becoming more and more obvious is that, as you tell your story, it's our story.
Mm,
Everyone out here listening now or on the replay, they can tap into that. And it's not only unique to these light worker and starseed circles, sologies, groups. Something's going on and we're not going to find it out there. It's not
no,
going to happen.
no.
So I really appreciate the fact that you were able to give us that life review, that awakening, dying, and birthing experience that is continuing now,
Hmm.
to remind us of where we've been and what we have in common. But we also have something else in common, that is right here, right now.
Absolutely.
And for everything that we've downloaded, and we know the beehive intelligence is getting bigger and bigger, so we're picking up things beyond telepathy and intuition.
Mhm.
But still, the human is here. And there's a relevance to that that I think we're coming to grips with, which is not it's our finite qualities, but our infinite and divine qualities in flesh.
Mhm.
So that's why I asked you, and I can ask myself, and I'll discuss it too. I have no thought into this, but after all this, as we get into 2025 February, what's the ride been like for the last few weeks, or even since January 1? Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, I think we can all say we are seeing the wider perspective,
Mm.
but the more physical, body bound things are going to be acknowledged before they go away. And so,
They have to be.
yeah, and we're all in that part of it together too, if we'll admit it to ourselves and to each other. And thank you for letting me say that. So, how has it been for you, if you don't mind, and go as deep as you want to or don't, um, mentally, emotionally, physically, relation wise,
So it's been
family?
challenging. I will not lie. It has been challenging, but for me, I look at these challenges as opportunities now. Because that's exactly what they are. We do have the power to shift our perspective in any given moment, and as soon as we understand that and give ourselves permission to, it's a game changer. So for me, I had to do that quite a few years ago in order to be better prepared for these very rapid challenges and changes that are happening now. There's
Do you still have to, do you still have to do it now? Do you still have to change your perspective now? And if so, is it
uh,
is it difficult?
yeah,
Does it
so
take a little while?
well, that's an interesting question. I try to be as open-minded as I possibly can. Like when there's something, of course, anything that I might be triggered by, I'm understanding there's something more for me to heal, understand, and learn within myself. It has nothing to do with outside and everything to do inside. So with that, it's helped me understand that, oh, okay, there was some kind of thought process or understanding about something in the past that I'm now in a better position that I can see things from a different perspective because I did give myself that permission a few years ago. So it is makes it a lot easier today. It really does. But
Do you
the
still get,
challenges are still coming.
I'm just curious, do you still get triggered? And I consider triggers activations.
Yes,
Are you still eating humble pie?
100%.
Are you still, are you losing any identities that you never thought you'd lose or never thought about? You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes. Well, and that's the path of a shaman. We got to go through those internal deaths and rebirth constantly. But the big ones that happen, they seem to be on a timeline with me, like every 4 to 5 years, where a big one would come up. But with each big one, when it shows up again, it's just like another layer of the onion that's being peeled back and a
Yeah.
greater perspective, and then another shift on the path. And it does get easier because anytime I'm now approaching it, I know that feeling. It's like, oh, this is very uncomfortable, and I understand, okay, now here I gotta surrender to the flow. And another thing that's opening up for me lately is instead of resisting the channeled messages that I get from the universe and from our higher self, it's very hard for me to label them from spirit guides and all that. To me, we all come from the same place and are connected to the same thing, so it's coming from the source. But some people will understand it differently if we have to use different labels, if that makes sense. So whatever spirit's giving to me in the moment, I'll deliver it the way that they're saying it needs to be delivered for the recipient to understand it. But
So
for me,
you're talking about like as a practitioner.
yeah, well, and no, and well,
But
harness.
you know, I think what I'm looking for within myself, because presence is presence.
Mhm.
It's not like you can have 98% or 94%, you know what I mean? And for me anyway, there seems to be a newfound awareness occurring based on the level of presence I have with myself. And so in our roles, like me hosting a podcast or you being a practitioner, there's something there that gives us kind of a foundation. But in this space that I'm looking for, I feel in right now, is a spell, even those things that woke us up. Because if you look at our stories, they're all really one and the same.
Mhm.
So is the emotional body, the mental body, the physical body speaking louder to you? Uh, are you coming into any type of confrontation, you might say, with the soul, with the universe, in regard to who you are, who you thought you were in this life as a human being, or what we're doing here, or what you're doing here? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well,
because all this information comes in, but yet we're still here. What
yeah.
are we to do with this? What are you doing with it? What are your dreams?
I keep getting told that we're here to remember, and you take that word not as a single word, but a double word,
Mm.
remember, right? Because it seems like this human life, we've forgotten a lot of who we are, where we came from, and then once that's forgotten, whatever we're being taught from the ages of 0 to 7, there's been a lot of misguidance, a lot of stuff to compound that memory loss. So it's like, as the human understanding of things is like we're fragmented until this awakening happens. And for me, it feels like the divinity within is coming alive, and we're like having to recognize what that is and then reconnect to it or remember ourselves.
Does that on a personal level, does that like create, because I know it does for me, does that create like challenges in terms of being a human being. You know what I mean? I saw
Oh,
this podcast the other day, and it was a guy who has sat in on, he's not in the U.S. government, but he's, because of his pedigree or his makeup, he sat in on different meetings, like in the Pentagon and so on.
mhm,
And they were talking about how there's these UAPs and UFOs, etc., and what's there and what's not been revealed. And they asked the guy, like, for the first time, what do you think the people would say if we told them the truth?
mhm.
And he said, well, you could land the spaceship on the White House lawn. The president comes out and greets them, and the next day is Monday, and they got to go to work. So, in other words, what I'm talking about is we're in all regards, without spiritual bypassing,
Mhm,
still being human beings.
mhm.
And my question to myself and to you and to everybody is, what challenges are these expansions, you know, um, bringing to us as a human being? Because it seems like we can't leave the human being behind.
No, what we weren't supposed to. No, the biggest challenge is trust and have faith, overcoming our own self-imposed or outside imposed limitations. I think that's the hardest is discovering faith without it being connected to some kind of indoctrination.
Hmm. Well,
That's what I struggled with.
yeah, I think we all did. I
Yeah.
think even with our level of awakening and our personal experiences, and even the 9/11s and the JFKs and this and the COVIDs and this and that,
Hmm.
have we not reached a point now where we understand that that will continue? Those presentations of whatever we want to call it, distortion or illusion or whatever the hell it is, chaos,
Hmm.
will continue.
What?
I mean, is everything driving us back to ourselves? And if so, how are we to function as human beings?
Yes, I do agree. This planet, this reality is based in what polarity and duality. We have to have contrast. We're not going to learn any other way. But the level of contrast, the level of intensities, we're learning how to bring into better balance instead of one extreme to the other. And I do believe we're far behind our evolutionary process due to some things that have been happening here. But again, the pressure is on to help wake up the collective, right? But there will always, you're right, there always will be contrast. I mean, we can't take
But
away.
we want to wake up, but we want to wake up the collective. Does that mean we're awake? You know what I mean? I mean, it's like, I hear in my own dialogue now and then, who do you think you are? To think that you know anything,
Right?
especially when it comes to this human series of human incarnations up to this point in time in the summary life or summary period or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, it's like, you know, we have been conditioned, as you said,
Hmm.
and I think we can all admit to that.
Hmm.
The question is, can we take that code in, which is what it is, and then apply it to the unknown that we're walking into?
Hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, it's been brutal. All of us are tired.
Hmm.
And what have we changed? Are we still looking for the boogeyman? Are we still looking for the savior? Are we still looking outside of ourselves? Are we being truthful with ourselves? Are we really? If we are that which we say we are, it's nice to say it, but it's another thing to be it. And I don't feel like I am, but I feel like that the most potential lies in having these conversations with myself and in this physical experience that we're having together,
Hmm.
to share it, as you said
Hmm.
earlier, about when you get something in, you want to share it right away. And I think a lot of people can identify with that. So it's, I get what you're saying. I do understand it. I think everyone does. The question is, how is it happening? What are we going through? What's deeply rooted within us that's trying to come out? When's the last time you broke down and cried, or I cried? When's the last time we said, get me out of here? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, something's going on that's positive, powerful, and I'd like to see the enthusiasm come in, the
Mm-hmm.
excitement come in. What do we have to lose?
Right?
But what we thought we were.
I think we've already lost. We already lost the memory of who we were when we got born into this world, right? And for me, I don't know, just to make it a little more simpler to understand, for me, on my experience, is this is a journey for every single one of us to remember who we are inside, right? But I mean, I wish I knew about energy when I was younger. It would have been a game changer, and it will be a game changer for every single person on this planet now, moving forward, to understand energy, what energy is, how we are energies, like at the core, inhabiting a physical body, and how to work with that, balance that. This will be a game changer for everybody. Yeah, I'm just being really, really
But I mean, like, why can't we change the game right now? Like
we
right
are.
now in this
We
moment?
are.
Like, no, really. Like, why can't we?
We are.
What, we've waited. I mean, it's always been that carrot on the stick.
But no, we are. We
Are
are.
we? Are we?
I
Are
believe
we?
I'm doing the best that I can with what I have.
Well, I'm not doubting you or me or anything else because I think the whole judgment thing is a big deal, a really
Right?
big deal, but for all of us. But it just seems to me like it's gotten, if we just go back 5 years, with everything that we've had happen in our history, in our memory, even though we've been given amnesia, look at what's happened. Look what's happened since the 1st of December.
Mm-hmm.
Earthquakes and fires and hurricanes and UAPs and sightings and drones and this and that and elections and all this stuff. I feel like that there is a space that we all go to because that's where our soul is.
Mm-hmm.
And we do it in 2 minutes or 20 minutes or in whatever practices or whatever comes up for us. And how we do it is up to us, but we do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a real space
Mm-hmm.
that we're all in. And that's where I want to interact, including my human who's nervous and who's still has fears and worries and the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really tired of living in that existence. I'd rather die on my feet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and these conversations like this are going to help for more people, hopefully, if they're resonating with it, to start up your own conversations in your own groups within your communities. Connect with each other. Connect back with each other through the heart, with the land that you're on, right? And restore the faith that was lost or maybe never even discovered yet. It's there.
Yeah.
I actually had a channeled message
Yeah.
come through this morning I would like to share.
Mm, okay.
And for the last 2 days, we finally got snowfall here in Mission. I'm in BC, Canada.
Mm,
We finally got snow a couple days ago, and then the winds just have picked up and they're nonstop. So I'm actually quite surprised that we haven't lost power, but I have been asking for the power to stay on as long as possible. But the winds, there, I just kept tapping in because that's what it feels like. The ancestors are talking and they're
mm.
speaking very loudly, but we cannot hear them if we do not quiet ourselves. And so I grabbed the pen, and this is another thing that's coming out of me more now is understanding I am a channel as well,
Mhm.
and to get these messages out and learn to just trust the process, even though it feels uncomfortable to come out of that kind of spiritual closet. But this message today says the winds of change are well underway. How you move is up to you, and that's individual for every person. Tune into the whispers of your ancestors. They are blowing messages to each of you all around the world. Relax. Let go of what has been, and you will hear the messages loud and clear. Follow that guidance that you feel deeply within, for a new way of being is opening up for everyone. How you move is completely up to you. Now is the time for realignment, and you all are divinely guided and supported every step of the way. And it was signed by the universe this time. Oh, it's silent outside for the first time. Wow.
I mean, I don't know where I'm going with this. I can so relate to you, and I know that everybody listening can. I do. We've all got our downloads, and they're only as good as our level of integration with it. You know what I mean? In terms of sharing it. Um, there's something really, really beyond raw happening now. You could call it transparent or on the way to transparent. But there's something about the human part of us that carries this incredible code
Mm-hmm.
when we unveil it. You know, we thought our multidimensionality was all this, the galactic, the elemental, and all that's part of us. That's the part we brought in to this thing with us.
Mm-hmm.
But the human, we didn't. There's something deep inside of us that we've all gone through that we haven't even been able to explain or verbalize. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're still getting stuck on the way to a plateau of heaven or a plateau of, okay, everything's cool here. I'm 5D and if they're not, it's okay. No, we're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, it's baffling, it's humbling,
Mm-hmm.
it's scary. Um, but my soul's saying there's no other place to go. It's time. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Fuck
Yeah,
it.
I stand with you
Fuck the
on that
internet news.
100%.
Fuck the mainstream media. Anything external, not in the sense that it's not relevant or meaningful, but in
Well,
the
it's
sense that
serving a
we have
purpose.
this has to happen right here. This happens right here,
Mm-hmm.
right here,
Yeah.
right now, in every opportunity. This is the potential that we have, and it's mind blowing.
Well, and I think the world stage is kind of showing us all like this is what happens if you don't learn how to govern yourself properly. If you keep
It's what's
giving your
happening.
power away, if you keep giving your power away to an outside source, you're never going to be in control of yourself.
It's not what can happen, it's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ask me, the world stage is an echo.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not, and I think a lot of us can agree on this, it's not linear anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Time is weird.
Mm-hmm.
So one of us can change it, on a dime. But where we've gotten to, and you're right, this is what you said earlier. This is what got me here. This is what you said. This is what got me to this. And that was the story I feel reflects all of us. So
Mm-hmm.
now that we're here,
Mm-hmm.
what are we going to do?
Make the
Because
best of it.
there's no knowing to it. It's
No.
really all self-reliant on what we contribute. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a really strange place because the world will tell you you're crazy, but they've been telling us that for years, right?
Well, you know what? I'll wear it like a badge then. And it is. The crazy is the new normal, right? Like it just it is. For me though, to answer your question, what do we do with it now? Like what do we
Mm,
do with where we are right now? Well, all we can do is the best with what we've got. And tune in and find out what lights your heart up. For me, I love to dance. I love to get together with people and celebrate. I love doing sacred ceremonies. So the more I can do that and set up that sacred space and gather people in that kind, that feels like that is a good solid purpose for this new way of being, even though it's connected to old ancient ties. It's needed now because it was forgotten or stripped out or whatever. I know on the western side of this planet, things need to change. They really do, but it starts with us inside first because
right,
everything outside is a
right. Right. Yeah. And and so the question comes back to, do things need to change or do I need to change? And I totally agree with what you said about rituals.
Mhm,
Um, if that's the case, I mean, you know, you're seeing a lot of stuff come out on the internet, social media now about sound and vibrations,
mhm.
etc., healing, tones, etc. Let's, you know, I mean, you said the two things that I guess you would say light your soul or you resonate with as a human soul, and that is to dance or have a ritual. So which one you want to do? Let's do one.
Let's do all of them.
You want to do both?
Ah, yeah.
Turn some music on and go ahead.
Well, how about I grab my drum and I
Yeah, let's,
share my song with everybody?
okay, that sounds great.
Just one second.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. This song is called Love Rise. And it used to be, the words to this song were like an incantation, if you will, to heal a tree. And when I did that many, many years ago, it actually worked. Within 2 weeks, that tree came back alive. And
Hmm.
so I was just floored by it. And I asked, you know, Spirit, oh, how do we heal humanity? And then that prayer just, I was told to just switch up some of the words in order for it to be linked to humanity. That was back in like 2013, I think. And then after I started drumming in 2018, the I started like 2 years after, so 2020, I started hearing the heartbeat in my meditations on the drum. And then there
Hmm.
was a melody that came about a month later with the heartbeat. And then on the third month, the prayer that I would say to help heal humanity became the words for the song. So that was just a little backstory of the song. It's called Love Rise.
Thank you.
Love rise, rise, rise up from the earth. Bring light, bring peace. Love rise. Love run, run, run along the land. Bring power of love to heal. Love sing, sing, sing along the breeze. Sing, 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 sing. Love rise. Love grow and flow within our hearts. Expand, ignite, love rise. Embraced in unity, we're whole, we're healed and sing love rise. Did
Very
you hear
cool.
the drum? I didn't
Oh
change
yeah.
my
Oh
setting.
no, no, no. You were very, very good.
Oh, thank you.
Um, and yeah, I mean, that's your song to the universe. That's your download put into expression. And again, that's something, we look at each other and think that she does something I don't do and vice versa. Or, you see people on the show, over all these years and oh, they do that. I've got a lot of messages and emails like that where they'll say, I don't do that, but I'm tapped into whatever that is. But the reality is seeing somebody uninhibited, expressing their soul. There's no book you could write or anything you could tell me that could have that type of potential to awaken something within myself and others and vice versa by seeing it.
Mhm. Well,
There's
and
a
that was being the change I wished to see in the world. And I got to tell you, that's the first time I've done this on a public platform like this where I didn't like choke up halfway through it. I'm very surprised I got through. I'm like shaking like a leaf right now, I'm telling you.
no,
But I'm
that's
very proud of myself
right.
for getting through
Yes,
it.
yes, and rightfully so. It's not ego. It's like a fusion between the human and the soul where you say, you know what? I don't care about anything, opinion, anything. It's not even in my field because I am open and I'm doing this. I don't know what it sounds like. And how do we know or not know that what you just put out could be the highest level of symphony in the universal field?
Hmm.
We're just in one part. Let's not forget that. Let's not take it too seriously or take ourselves too seriously, but let's take ourselves seriously because
Hmm.
this is where we're at now. It's a
Hmm.
whole different level of communication. It's a whole different way of living. It's been sprung upon us. Be careful what you ask for. Let me be awake, and boom.
100%.
Now now it's incumbent upon us to walk the talk and to be our souls in form, and whatever that looks like. How can you argue with a star that shines, the shine of a star, the sun? I mean, so thank you for sharing that because high level code for people, for all of us. I love to see more of that from people and myself.
Well, one of the messages that I got from Great Spirit shortly after, actually 3 days after I was introduced to drumming through the in Native American culture here in my hometown, and what an honor and a blessing it was to get taught this and have it ignite that medicine that was laying dormant within me that I had no idea was there.
Mm.
But that message came in loud and clear. In order to bridge the gap of separation, we have to come together in unity through the community.
Mm.
That is the way of New Earth.
I th- yeah, I think at this point we can all agree on that. You know what I mean? It's like
I
we
would,
can all agree on unity, community,
would hope
and
so.
it's all, well, I believe we can. I believe we can say that's what it will be. That's what it has to be. How can you have anything less than that? You know what I mean? Because it would not be the balance of which we say we see.
Right.
But the point is, that's over there, and we're standing here. And I don't know how it works, but maybe it's one single person who finds that place and who takes that equal part at the table of the Trinity. What's good for me is good for you, is good for the collective, and
Hmm.
truly has the intention and the openness to abide by that, even if the whole world thinks they're crazy. Maybe
Absolutely.
that's maybe we've been put on blast and all the craziness and weirdness that we identified with and experienced all through these wake up years, like being estranged from your family and put
Mhm.
into the psych ward, put into jail, all these different things. Maybe we're being asked to step right into that same thing with more conviction, more faith, more love, more knowing. Um, same pattern as before, but the difference is we don't have the resistance now.
No, we're walking it now.
Yeah. I mean, has your life through it all, let's just go back 12 years, 13 years, the big year, 2012. Um, well, and you talked about, what was it, 17 or 18. But my point is, regardless of all the ups and downs, of all the upheavals, of all the activations, of all the downloads and such, do you feel like your life has become more comfortable, more relaxed, even if it's a little bit at a time, you
Mhm.
know, more balanced,
Yes,
um, in
definitely.
some way? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like your drum beat. Like
it
maybe it's
certainly
just like
has.
boom, 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 boom,
Yeah,
but it's still there. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Do you
It
feel that way?
it
Really?
has gotten more harmonious as far as energies go and my experiences. And not to say that there's challenges, there always will be. But yeah, it's better now because I have so many tools that I work with in sacred ways that help me manage myself and therefore the things that come up. And I'm not triggered. I don't react like I used to at all. Like I am, most people that are seeing this
You
video.
don't get triggered like you used to, but you still get a little triggered
Oh yeah, of
sometimes. Yeah, of
course.
course. Yeah.
We're here. We're having a human
Yeah.
experience. If you're not
Yeah.
being triggered by something, I don't know if you're
But
human.
you're not, yeah, but you're not like staying in the loops where the
No, no.
imagination
Like as soon as it nowadays,
has real power, right? You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Nowadays, when a trigger happens,
Yeah.
I recognize it within like 5 minutes, and then I'm dealing with it, and it's being dealt with within hours instead of it being dragged out for days, weeks,
Yeah. Yeah.
months. You know.
Yeah. Like, like getting to a place where we no longer, it no longer bursts out.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it becomes, it becomes, seeing for what it is. I mean, like, in other words, if I project or you project, um, or whatever, that we can actually, this is telepathy, this is empathy, this is intuition, to be able to say, I don't even understand what's coming at me here,
Mhm.
but I know it's me.
Mhm.
But I know there's a rhyme to the reason because we've all had our blind spots and we've all had our specifics of conditioning and programming, which we planned. Let's face it. Um, but to get to a place where, how do you say this? Where we don't have our guard up. In other words, yeah, we all know it's going to be unity and community and Trinity, and we can see that's the way it has to go. But we're over here. How do we get there? We trust, like you said earlier. Like I cannot base my behavior based on what my fear is or my lack of trust is, but to just put my best foot forward, um, up to the last moment that I'm taken out of here,
Mhm.
which could be in 5 minutes.
Right. And if 5 minutes was all that I had to share, what has come to me that has been a beautiful experience to birth that particular song. I'm still floored by it. I still have no idea how and why, other than it was meant to be, and it. I'm just so honored by it. And I hold a drum circle every second week here at my home throughout the winter. When it gets warmer in the weathers, or in the other seasons, then we gather outdoors, and when everybody is singing this song because they know it now, like I'm almost in tears after every time we do it because it still just blows my mind. I never ever foresaw any of the way my life has unfolded before. Like it was completely veiled to me, and
Yeah.
I'm still discovering things that I have no idea I'm capable of. And I'm now,
Yeah. But
even though I'm scared, I am gonna start talking about it and just be
Good.
open and share my truth.
Good. Good. Yeah. Exactly. Just like little kids, you can't put a filter on little kids, and there's something pure about it.
Never have
You
put
know what I'm
filter.
talking about? But another thing I think that in reflection through our stories, like you're sharing with us now, and whether it's artistic or some energetic imprint that you laid down, or I laid down, or somebody else laid down in the moment when we were in our power and we were flowing freely in inspiration, and expression. Um, I feel we've done a lot of this. We've done a whole lot of this from since 2012 individually. And those imprints that we put out there that we didn't even think about, that we felt weren't good enough or that we doubted, they're real and they're still reverberating. Okay. So a lot of what we've done, or let me put it this way, and I'll speak for myself, and I'm getting better. A lot of what I feel I need to do, I've actually done. And I feel that goes for a lot of us, all of us, really. We all showed up. But something's different now in 2025. Something's really, really different. And
Still,
there's no limits on what we can see and what we can be. That's mind blowing. It's beyond quantum. It's life force energy. It's the unknown. It's the mystery. It's the mother's womb's creations.
I'm excited because this year with this new energy and everything, it's going to be extremely new experiences for all of us. But is it going to be, difficult for some people that still have that old mindset with the old, you know, beliefs or whatnot, using that kind of old way of thinking and how to project that into a new way? It can't be done.
But our but our but if that's the case, coming from you or coming from me, and we've all been there and we're all there now, is that part of our world? I mean, we're energy. That's how you started this conversation. And just because we have a physicality to us that's beyond holographic, at least it feels that way. Um, who's to say that, people talk about the two Earths and the Great Divide and the solar flashes and all that, and I get it, but if we're energy, maybe that's all that is. Maybe there is, maybe their way is the right way and our way is the right way. And maybe we need to focus on ourselves. You know what I mean? That's kind of where my soul's taken me for, I would say, to a depth that I haven't experienced in over 12 years, since 2011.
Oh, you had your awakening in 2011 as well.
Hmm.
That's when I woke up. Man.
I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, to me, if you want to call it psychic phenomena, third eye, downloads, whatever you want to call it, to me now, more than ever, since probably before the first of the year, but certainly since the first of the year, is at a level that I can only relate to my wake up experience. Now, I know yours was in 2011. I know other people that were in different years, much earlier and later. But there's something about the level of experience, the level of occurrence, the level of what's available or what's showing up or what can show up. To me, to me it feels like, back in those days I used the term biblical, but I would call it divine episode, something like that. It feels that way to me now, which takes everything off the table that got us here. Everything. Everything we think we
Yeah,
know. You know what I mean? It's like, okay,
exactly.
how brave
Who
are you?
knows what the real answers are? We're here to just discover and experience it and try to make the best with what we've got.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the kicker, right? Like, okay, and so through this process of learning, am I not supposed to enjoy myself and be happy and smile? You know what I mean?
I believe
And
that's
put
the,
my, you know what I
yeah,
mean? It's like it's crazy. Like, how is that the most powerful
I believe,
potential in the universe from the space that we all share here on Earth, that the heart opens up and expresses and makes a song, and whatever it is, because it's timeless.
you can feel it. Everybody can
Yeah.
feel it when somebody is in that space. Everybody can feel it.
Mm, yeah.
When you do feel that, when you witness somebody in that space, I don't know about you or anybody else watching this, but I do know for myself, I'm like, oh, I want that, right? Like, oh, that feels so great. And then I'm reminded I do have that. We all do. But it's an opportunity for us to go back in, right? The only way out
Mm.
of all this disarray and combobulation, right? The only way out is in,
Turn it off. Turn it off one switch at a time.
right?
Like a light switch is on the wall. Just turn it off, turn it off. It doesn't mean it's leaving.
No,
Nothing
exactly.
leaves. It just
No.
means it just means that, well, I don't know. Again, I'm only speaking for myself, but like, and trying to, like you said, and so many people have said in these few shows we've done, which is, how do you explain this?
Mhm.
But it's almost like everything, everything that's happening, it requires, I don't know if that's the right word, but it behooves us to go into this presence with ourselves. If it's 2 minutes, 20 minutes, 2 hours, whatever it is, when you need to, no excuses, no explanations, because we're not infringing on anything or anyone, to get our head together, to take in all this code,
Mhm.
uh, and to apply
Yeah.
it,
And remember.
um, to the, like you said, do the best you can. I mean, to the best of our abilities. It's not playing. I can tell you that.
Mm-mm.
This energy, some people might call it the universal energy, whatever you want to call it, the golden child, the third energy, the second coming. It's not playing
All of the
around.
above. Yep.
Yeah. And there's no right or wrong. And some people will transition physically, and all the soul, it's a soul's plan. But I do believe there's a potential and an opportunity to do whatever it is that we're doing in form, in our physicality. And I could be wrong, but it feels, at least it feels on that level,
It does.
like something's, beyond extraordinary, something.
Yeah. It feels like that for me as well. Yeah. And I'd much rather surrender to it than resist it because I know what it feels like on both sides.
Well, I think the term has got to be, the term has got to be much bigger than surrender,
Hmm.
or it's, I don't know what the word is, because it's not a word of, I give up, I'm helpless. It's
Oh,
it's
that's
it's
not.
like, I don't know, how do you say it though? It's like, I I give up to love beyond anything I can even come close to thinking. I don't know what it is. It's like, okay, I trust. I don't know how to explain it,
Hmm.
but it's like, it's all on one. It's like you don't have a choice,
Hmm.
but yet there's no choice to be made. It's
Right.
just simply this resistance coming from these echoes and lineage and all the different explanations, DNA, that we have.
Mhm.
Um,
And the resistance is just coming from a place of fear, false evidence appearing real.
mm. And maybe we don't need to get in a hurry. And maybe what we need to, well, that's not a word. Maybe we could consider that we don't have to be in such a hurry to get there, or to understand, or to be okay in our own mind. And maybe that's what it is pausing, pausing, and reflecting on that which is sustaining itself in our field, until we acknowledge it and get to know it and recognize it and love it and respect it.
Mhm.
And I think that's the nitty gritty that we're all getting into in our own depths.
Mhm.
Some of it's conscious and probably a lot's unconscious, but it's all tied to that unity and community that you talked about, because we would contain that within ourselves. We have no self judgment of ourselves or anyone else at all. happens at the same time.
Hmm. Yeah.
You should get that drum out again.
I
Let's
have.
do let's do something. Let's just put ourselves out there. To hell with it. So are you native? Do you have native blood? All right, not that
So I
you have
did.
soul, native soul.
Oh my gosh, yes, through and through, energetically 100%. But the percentage of, I want to say Native American blood, which is actually connected to different places all around the world. I did a DNA test because of just what I was feeling like, oh my gosh, and I have no idea my father's lineage. He hasn't
Okay.
been in my life for most of my life. So, yeah, I did the DNA test just to see what came back, and I'm strongly most of the graft is in the UK and English, but I do have German background, and there's 0.003% of Native American running through my blood, and so I'm not sure. I think it's coming through my father's side of the family. But then there was also a point, or no, 1.7% Neanderthal, which was interesting. That's very, very old, very old. Yeah.
Well, it depends on if you want to start going into the DNA of your galactic makeup.
Oh,
Then it's very young.
yeah. Yeah, it could be. But yeah,
And I
as
think,
far as incarnation as a human on this planet, that's what my blood type showed when I did my DNA
oh,
testing.
cool, very cool.
But there's
Um,
I'm connected to almost every single culture on this planet.
well, I think that's the whole point. We are connected to every bit of it, and there's nothing distinct about you from me or me from you.
No, and of course, energetically, we're all the same.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, so it's not, it's like if we go on the internet, you see these reels, you see this, you see that. Um, it's not in the explanation. I think it's in the songs, in the rituals, in
Hmm.
the silence, in the pause, in the openness, um, because all that stuff's included.
Hmm.
It's all included. All that stuff woke us up and, like you said, got us to where we're at. But what really got us to where we're at was listening to that still small voice within us,
Hmm.
no matter what happened or who happened or when happened, you know what I mean? Or how it happened.
Hmm.
And that's kind of where we're at. So yeah, pull out the drum and let's just see what we can do to, kind of close it out, like
Right. Well, I've already got a song that wants to come out, which
okay.
I sing with the circle. It's not mine, but it is, everybody can look it up on YouTube. It's called Mother, I Feel You by
Mm,
Winsong Martin.
mm.
Okay. And I love this song because it helps for anybody who's open to know what it's like to get back into connection with the sacredness of our planet, which we are directly connected to.
We are the planet.
Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Hey, 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 yeah, hey, hey, oh. Hey, 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 oh. Hey, 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 yeah, hey, hey, oh. Hey, 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 oh. Mother, I hear you in the river song. Eternal waters flowing on and on. Mother, I hear you in eternal waters flowing on and on. Hey, 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 yeah, hey, hey, ho. Hey, 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 ho. Hey, 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 yeah, hey, hey, ho. Hey, 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 ho. Father, I see you when the eagle flies. Light of the Spirit's gonna take us higher. Father, I see you when the eagle flies. Light of the Spirit's gonna take us higher. Hey, 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 yeah, hey, hey, ho. Hey, 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 ho. Hey, 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 yeah, hey, hey, ho. Hey, 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 ho. Mother, I hear you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Hey, 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 yeah, hey, hey, ho. Hey, 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 ho. Hey, 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 yeah, hey, hey, ho. Hey, 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 ho. Hey, 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 yeah, hey, hey, ho. Hey, 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 ho.
Ooh, well,
Thank
that
you.
was a good way to get the message across beyond the words.
Mm.
Um, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, let's just take a moment and let's take a moment together
I would love that.
because the way, like I was saying earlier, the way I look at it is how do I know in the next moment I won't be here? And I really feel like that when we leave this place, as much trouble as it gave us, we're going to wish we could come right back or let it last a little bit longer. So, yeah. So if you'll just take a moment with me and if you want to close your eyes, if you don't, that's fine. Let's all join hands in this circle of life, surrounded by our guardians and our angels, our son, monad, and family, and all the souls in this great creation. And as we are centered here on Mother Earth, which is who we are, rooted in our bodies, and we pull in all the multidimensionality, may we all remember to go easy on ourselves and go easy on each other as we move into a space with less judgment and prejudice and bias, self-righteousness. And we can start to look at those things that are the true gold beneath the human experience, which is humility and integrity, honesty, innocence, and love. Thank you. All right. So thank you very much, Shannon, for coming on and show number 12. We got a few lined up. I haven't put the post up yet. I'm trying to do everything spontaneously to the best of my ability as I go through all the same waves and triggers and activations that we all go through. So just remember, I am soul, you are soul, and soul is the goddess, the God. We're all one and the same.
Yeah.
Take care.
We're all in this
Blessings
together.
of blessings of grace to you and yours.
Thank you.
See you when I see you the next time. Take
Yeah.
care. Thank
Take
you so much for sharing your